August 4th, 1991. Indian Ocean, off the coast of South Africa. The MTS Oceanos, a cruise ship carrying 571 passengers and crew, is sinking in a violent storm. The captain abandons ship first. The officers follow him. They flee in the first lifeboats, leaving passengers behind. But here's what makes this story different. 0 people died. Because the ship's entertainers, a guitarist, magicians, singers, took command and saved everyone. This is the story of the MTS Oceanos, the disaster where entertainers became heroes and the captain became a coward. August 3rd, 1991. The MTS Oceanos departs East London, South Africa, for a 5-day cruise up the coast to Durban. She's a Greek passenger liner. Built in 1952, she's aging, nearly 40 years old, and she has a history. The Oceanos has had problems, mechanical issues, engine failures. She's been poorly maintained for years. The crew knows this. The officers know this. Everyone who works on the ship knows the Oceanos is a disaster waiting to happen. But she keeps sailing because she's profitable. On this voyage, the Oceanos is carrying 571 people, passengers, mostly South African families on holiday, and crew, including the ship's entertainment staff. Among them are Moss Hills and Tracy Hills, a British couple who work as entertainers. Moss is a guitarist, Tracy is a singer. They perform in the ship's lounge. Also aboard, magicians, dancers, other performers, the entertainment staff. These are not maritime professionals, they're musicians and performers. They know how to entertain passengers, they don't know how to sail a ship. But that's about to change. On August 3rd, the Oceanos leaves East London. The weather forecast is concerning. A major storm is approaching. But Captain Yanis Avranis decides to sail anyway. The schedule must be kept. The Oceanos heads north into worsening weather. By evening, the storm hits. Massive waves, gale-force winds. The Oceanos is being battered. The ship is old. She's not built for this. The hull groans. The engines strain. And then, something breaks. A waste disposal pipe in the engine room ruptures. Seawater begins flooding into the ship. The crew discovers the leak, but they can't fix it. The water is coming in too fast. The engine room floods. The engines fail. The ship loses power. The Oceanos is now adrift in a violent storm. No engines, no steering, being thrown around by massive waves, and water is pouring in. August 4th, 1991. Early morning. The Oceanos is listing, leaning to one side as water floods the lower decks. Passengers are starting to panic. The ship is clearly in trouble. Water is rising. The list is increasing. They look to the crew for guidance, for reassurance, for leadership. But the crew is nowhere to be found, because Captain Yanis Avranis and his senior officers have made a decision. They're abandoning ship. Not after evacuating the passengers, not after ensuring everyone is safe. Right now, immediately, first. Captain Avranis and his officers board the first lifeboats. They lower themselves into the storm-tossed ocean and row away from the sinking ship. The captain, the man responsible for 571 lives, flees first, leaving passengers and junior crew behind. This is the ultimate act of cowardice at sea. The captain is legally and morally required to be the last person to leave. Captain Avranis does the opposite. He abandons his passengers to save himself. On the Oceanos, passengers realize what's happening. The captain is gone. The officers are gone. The lifeboats are leaving without them. Panic sets in. People rush to the remaining lifeboats, but most don't know how to launch them. The ship is sinking. The captain has fled, and nobody is in charge. That's when Moss Hills makes a decision. Moss is a guitarist, an entertainer. He has no maritime training. But somebody needs to take charge. Somebody needs to organize the evacuation. So Moss steps up. He goes to the bridge, now abandoned by the captain. He finds the radio and he sends out a distress call. Mayday, Mayday, this is the MTS Oceanos. We are sinking. We need immediate assistance. The South African Navy receives the call. So does the Air Force. Rescue helicopters are dispatched. But the storm is severe. Helicopter rescue is extremely dangerous. Moss realizes they need to organize the evacuation themselves. So he assembles the entertainment staff, the magicians, the singers, the dancers. These are the people who stayed. While the captain fled, the entertainers remained. Moss gives them instructions. Help passengers put on life jackets, move them to upper decks, keep them calm, organize groups for helicopter evacuation. The entertainers become the crew, musicians and performers taking on the roles that trained officers abandoned. Tracy Hills helps calm frightened passengers. She sings to children to keep them from panicking. The magicians help elderly passengers upstairs. The dancers organize life jacket distribution. These entertainers, people whose job is to perform, are now running a maritime evacuation, and they're doing it better than the professionals who fled. The South African Air Force helicopters arrive, but the conditions are terrible. The Oceanos is listing severely. The deck is at a steep angle. Waves are crashing over the ship. Wind is howling. Landing a helicopter is nearly impossible, but the rescuers have no choice. The helicopters begin winching people up, one at a time, slowly, carefully. Moss Hills coordinates from the bridge. He's on the radio with the pilots, telling them where passengers are gathered, giving them updates on the ship's condition. The entertainers organize passengers into groups, prioritizing the elderly, the children, the families, and they keep people calm. This is what they're trained for, keeping an audience engaged. Tracy Hills stands on the tilting deck singing. The magicians perform tricks for terrified passengers, giving them something to focus on besides the sinking ship. It's surreal. Musicians and magicians running a maritime evacuation. But it works. The helicopters make trip after trip. The weather is brutal. The pilots are risking their lives, but they keep coming back. Moss coordinates it all. He's never done this before, but he's doing it anyway, because somebody has to. Hours pass. The ship lists further. Water continues flooding. The Oceanos is going down. But the evacuation continues, organized, methodical, led by entertainers. Finally, after 16 hours of continuous helicopter rescues, everyone is off the ship. All 571 people. Every single passenger. Every crew member who stayed. 0 deaths. The last person airlifted off the Oceanos is Moss Hills himself, the guitarist who took command when the captain fled. He stayed until everyone else was safe. He was the last to leave. Moss Hills, an entertainer with no maritime training, did what Captain Avranis wouldn't do. Hours later, the MTS Oceanos sinks. She goes down bow first, disappearing beneath the Indian Ocean. But everyone survived. 571 people, all safe, because musicians and magicians did the job that trained officers refused to do. After the rescue, the truth comes out. Captain Yanis Avranis fled the ship in one of the first lifeboats. He claimed later that he left to coordinate rescue efforts from shore. But the radio logs show that Moss Hills was coordinating everything from the ship's bridge. The captain did nothing. Avranis was safe on shore while Moss Hills was still on the sinking ship organizing the evacuation. The international maritime community was outraged. A captain abandoning his passengers is the ultimate betrayal at sea. Avranis faced an investigation, but he was never criminally charged. He claimed he acted appropriately. Nobody believed him. The evidence was clear. He fled first. He abandoned his duty. Avranis was stripped of his captain's license. He never commanded a ship again. His name became synonymous with cowardice. Moss Hills and the other entertainers became international heroes. Moss was awarded for bravery, So was Tracy. So were the other performers who stayed. The South African helicopter pilots who risked their lives were honored. But the real story was the entertainers who became heroes. Musicians and magicians who had no maritime training, who had no obligation to stay, who could have fled with the captain. But they didn't. They stayed. They organized. They saved 571 lives. The Oceanos disaster became a case study in leadership. Not the kind you learn in academies, but the kind that emerges when people choose to act instead of flee. Moss Hills wasn't trained to command a ship, but when the trained commander fled, Moss stepped up. He made a choice. Someone needs to do something, so I'll do it. That choice saved 571 lives. The wreck of the MTS Oceanos lies off the coast of South Africa, 92 meters down. 0 people died in the Oceanos disaster, not because of the captain, not because of the trained officers, because a guitarist took command, because magicians organized passengers, because singers kept children calm, because when the professionals fled, the amateurs stepped up. Remember the MTS Oceanos, not for the coward captain, but for the entertainers who proved that courage isn't about training or rank. It's about the choice to act when others flee. Moss Hills wasn't a captain, but he was the last person off that ship. Leadership isn't about your title, it's about your actions when it matters most. 571 people alive because a guitarist knew how to be a captain better than the actual captain. Remember that heroes aren't always the professionals. Sometimes they're the musicians who refuse to leave people behind. And remember, Captain Avranis, remember that all the training in the world means nothing if you abandon your duty. 0 deaths because entertainers became heroes and a captain became a coward.